How many times have you told yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll wait until I feel better? But deep down, you know that waiting for the right moment will only keep you stuck. What if I told you the key to success isn't waiting for motivation to strike, but pushing yourself to act, even when you don't feel like it? In this video, we're going to talk about how to break free from that trap. You'll learn why acting through resistance is crucial for growth, how to overcome the mental roadblocks that hold you back, and why waiting for motivation is the wrong strategy. If you're tired of letting feelings control your actions, this is for you. Stick around, because I'm going to show you exactly how to force yourself into action and start seeing real results. Ready to stop waiting and start doing? Let's dive in. Number 1, stand up and move your body without overthinking anything. You know what separates the people who move forward in life and the ones who stay stuck? It's not talent. It's not even how motivated they are. It's how often they decide to act without waiting to feel ready. It's how often they stand up and move their body when everything inside them says, not now. That moment, right there, that small window of hesitation, it kills dreams. It steals years. It robs people of what could be. When you're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, knowing there's something you need to do, whether it's going to the gym, getting your work started, making a call you've been avoiding, and you just sit there thinking, I don't feel like it. That's the exact moment you must stand up and move your body. No debate, no delay. You don't need permission. You don't need to analyze anything. You just move. The mistake people make is assuming that action needs to wait for the right feeling. They think they have to feel motivated before they get started. But it's the other way around. Action creates the feeling. Movement sparks motivation. You're never going to feel like it first. You'll feel tired. You'll feel lazy. You'll feel anxious. You'll feel everything but ready. But when you force yourself to stand up, physically stand up, you break that mental pattern. You shut down the voice that keeps you trapped. People say they want to change. They say they want to be better. But they're still sitting down, still scrolling, still making plans they never act on. If you want your life to change, stop making it so complicated. Stop waiting for clarity. Just stand up. Go wash your face. Go for a walk. Move your legs. Stretch your arms. Go do something. Movement brings energy, and energy changes your emotional state. That's how it works in real life. You ever notice how when you sit still too long, your mind starts to spiral? You overthink. You imagine all the worst-case scenarios. You remember every past failure. That's because your body is idle. Your body has gone into shutdown mode, and your mind follows. The fastest way to interrupt that spiral is to get up. Force a physical change, because when you move, you interrupt that pattern. You send a new message to your mind. We're not stuck. We're in control. We're going forward. People underestimate the power of small movements. They think progress needs to be dramatic. It doesn't. It just needs to begin. You don't need to solve your whole life in one afternoon. You just need to stand up and move. The momentum you build from that one action will carry you forward. I've seen people stay in the same place for years because they were waiting to feel something they were never going to feel. Confidence, clarity, motivation. But none of those things come before action. They come after. You earn confidence by doing the hard things when you don't feel ready. You get clarity by trying, failing, and learning. Not by thinking and motivation. That's a reward for starting, not a requirement. You ever sat down saying you were just going to rest for a minute, and then an hour goes by? That's how people waste their lives. One pause becomes 2. One excuse becomes 10. The more you sit still, the heavier everything feels. That's why you have to make movement your weapon. Use it to snap out of your fog. Use it to shake off the mental weight. Don't think, just move. You'll thank yourself every single time. There's no perfect time. That perfect moment you're waiting for, it doesn't exist. And deep down, you know it. There's only right now. Right now is all you've got. And if you wait too long, you'll miss the chance to prove to yourself that you're stronger than you feel. People don't change their lives with grand plans. They change their lives with small decisions. One small action, over and over again. It starts with standing up. You need to build the habit of physical momentum. Because once you start moving, you start doing. And once you start doing, you feel better. That's not philosophy. That's just reality. That's how real life works. I've seen people turn their whole life around because they made a rule. When they feel stuck, they move. When they feel tired, they move. When they feel lost, they move. That movement is their reset button. No one is coming to save you from your stuck days. No one is going to drag you out of bed. No one is going to magically install discipline into your mind. That's on you. And the best news is you don't have to do it all at once. You just have to take the first step. But you must take that step. No overthinking. No waiting for the right mood. No giving yourself another out. If your body isn't moving, your life isn't moving. I know some days feel heavy. I know the bed feels too warm. I know your head can get foggy. But that's not a reason to stay still. That's the exact reason to move. Even if it feels pointless at first, do it anyway. Even if your body is dragging, get up anyway. Even if your mind is shouting all the reasons not to. Especially then, you stand up. That's how strength is built. That's how change happens. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're just used to giving in to your feelings. And you've done it for so long that it feels normal. But it's not. You were made for more. And it's still in you. The version of you that follows through, that finishes what you start. It's still there. You just need to stop feeding the part of you that always gives in. Don't wait for inspiration. Don't wait for support. Don't wait for the world to be quiet. Make your move now. Stand up right now. Take one small physical action, and then another. You're not going to feel amazing right away, but you're going to feel alive. And that's a start. If you've been sitting on a dream, a goal, an idea, and you keep telling yourself you're waiting for the right time, stop lying to yourself. The only time you can count on is now. There is no better moment than the one you've got in front of you. Don't waste it. You owe it to yourself to stop sitting in self-doubt. You owe it to your future to stop letting every small feeling decide your actions. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to act. And action starts with movement. Make it a rule for yourself. The second you catch yourself overthinking, stand up. The moment you feel the pull of procrastination, get moving. Your body is your greatest tool. Use it. Use it to fight back against the excuses. Use it to break through hesitation. Use it to prove to your mind that you're still in charge. Because here's the truth. If you don't interrupt your patterns will become your life. And most people don't like where their patterns lead. But you can change yours. You can create new habits, new beliefs, new momentum, all by deciding to move. Stand up, even when it feels easier to stay still. Move even when your mind tells you to wait. Act even when nothing feels right. Because the more you train yourself to move in those hard moments, the more control you gain over your entire life. That's the truth. No one wants to hear. That no matter how inspired you are by a video or a quote or a podcast, if you don't move, nothing changes. The only people who change their lives are the ones who learn to act before they feel like it. And that can be you. But you've got to start. You've got to stop telling yourself that tomorrow will be different. You've got to stop believing that your future self will magically have more willpower. That's a lie we all fall for. You won't have more strength tomorrow if you keep avoiding action today. So move now. Get up now. Don't ask how it'll go. Don't plan the next 10 steps. Just take one, then another. Keep your body in motion long enough, and you'll start to see something shift. You'll feel the energy come back. You'll feel your mind get clearer. You'll remember who you are and what you're capable of. And when that moment comes, when you realize you had the power all along, you'll stop waiting for perfect conditions. You'll stop handing your power over to feelings. You'll stop delaying your growth. You've got what it takes. Not next week. Not next year. Right now. So stand up. Move your body. Stop waiting to feel ready. That's the first battle. And it's one you can win every single day. And if you win that battle often enough, you'll look back and realize you didn't just survive. You transformed. All because you stopped overthinking and started moving. That's where it all begins. That's the real secret. Move now. Because you're not stuck. You're just waiting. And waiting is the enemy of every dream. So stop waiting. Act, act, act now. You'll feel better. You'll grow stronger. You'll become who you were meant to be. One step. One action. Right now. Number 2. Turn off all distractions and start your first task. You live in a world that pulls you in 100 directions. The moment you wake up, your phone lights up. Notifications pile on. You hear sounds from every app you've downloaded. You feel the itch to check, to scroll, to escape into something easier. And before you even begin your day, your focus is already stolen. That's what most people don't realize. They're not tired. They're just distracted. They're not stuck. They're just too wired into everything that doesn't matter. And it's killing their progress. It's destroying their ability to finish what they start. It's not that people don't have goals. They do. It's not that people aren't smart. They are. But most never even get to the first task because they're too busy being consumed by things that don't deserve their attention. If you want to change your life, you have to do something most people don't have the guts to do. You have to turn off everything that's keeping you from showing up. That means silence the noise. Turn off the phone. Close the tabs. Block the apps. Create space in your mind that allows real work to start. You're not going to feel ready, and you're not going to want to do it. That's fine. Do it anyway. Your future is waiting on the other side of your distractions. Look at how people live. They say they want success, but they keep checking every notification. They say they want growth, but they're still chasing likes. They say they want peace, but they never stop scrolling, and that's the trap. The false sense of being busy while getting absolutely nowhere. You're not making progress by consuming everyone else's life. You're not building anything by reacting all day long. That's how you get stuck. That's how you lose years. The truth is uncomfortable, but it's also freeing. Your life is being decided by what you give your attention to. If you want better results, better focus, better outcomes, you need to protect your attention like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. The people who win in life aren't the ones who are always motivated. They're the ones who know how to shut the door, kill the noise, and get to work on the one thing that moves the needle. You only need to do one thing at a time. That's it. Not 10, not 5, just one. And that first task, the one you keep avoiding, is the one that will build your self-respect back. You've got to start it, not tomorrow, not when you're in the mood, right now, because the longer you wait, the heavier it gets. The longer you delay, the more your brain convinces you that it's okay to keep waiting. That's how people stay trapped in the loop of procrastination. They confuse movement with progress. They confuse activity with purpose. They're always doing something but never doing the thing that matters. The moment you shut it all down and put your energy into one clear task, everything shifts. Your brain stops bouncing between tabs. Your thoughts get quieter. Your hands start moving. And even if the first few minutes feel hard, you start to feel that sense of direction again. That's what focus does. It reconnects you with your strength. But you'll never get there if you keep letting every distraction win. People love to say they have no time. But time is not the issue. Attention is. Because most people waste more time switching between meaningless tasks than they'd ever waste failing. They start something, check their phone, open another window, scroll for a second, answer a text, and then wonder why they feel overwhelmed. That's not work. That's chaos. And that chaos builds anxiety. And that anxiety drains discipline. It's a cycle that repeats every single day until you break it. The good news is, you can break it, but it takes intention. It takes a decision. You have to look around at your environment and ask yourself, what is stealing my attention right now? And when you find it, shut it off. Cut it out. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait until it feels easy. Just do it. You'll feel resistance. That little urge to keep one tab open, to check your phone one more time. But push through it. That's the moment where you start to reclaim your focus. The first task you start today may not be perfect. That doesn't matter. What matters is that you do it with full attention. Not halfway. Not with one eye on your notifications. All in. Because that's how results are created. Full presence. One thing. Real effort. That's what builds momentum. And momentum is what carries you through the days when motivation is nowhere to be found. It's not supposed to be comfortable. Turning off distractions means facing your own mind. It means facing the silence. And that can be hard when you've trained yourself to run from boredom to always be stimulated. But that discomfort is your edge. That's where your breakthrough lives. Not in the scrolling, not in the easy hits of dopamine, in the stillness, in the hard focus. That's where your discipline is born. You know what's more satisfying than likes? Progress. You know what's more fulfilling than being entertained? Finishing what you start. You know what builds real pride? Showing up for the task you said you'd do, even when no one's watching. especially when no one's watching. That's when you build a reputation with yourself that says, I follow through. That's power. That's freedom. That's how you earn your confidence. Every day you give your time to distractions. You're handing over your future to things that don't care about you. But every day you fight back, even just for an hour, and start your task with no interruptions. You're taking your life back. You're telling yourself, I'm worth more than cheap stimulation. My focus matters. My time matters. That decision made daily compounds into a life you actually respect. And it doesn't need to be some massive goal. You don't need to conquer the world today. You just need to start your first task and finish it with full effort. That's the difference between those who move forward and those who stay stuck. It's not magic. It's not motivation. It's self-control. And you build self-control by doing the work, even when distraction feels easier. You're capable of doing hard things, but you'll never know that if you keep letting every little beep and buzz dictate your choices. You can build a new system for yourself, one where your focus comes first, one where you decide what matters most and give it your full attention. But you have to want it more than you want comfort. Turn everything off right now, no exceptions. Put your phone in another room, close the social tabs, shut down everything that tempts you to escape, then sit down and start. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to begin. And once it begins, stay with it. Don't run. Don't check. Don't distract. Stay with it. Because that ability to hold your attention is a skill. And that skill will carry you to every goal you set. Most people will never do this. Most people will keep choosing comfort and distraction. And that's why most people stay frustrated. But you're not most people. You wouldn't be here if you were. You're here because something in you knows you've got more to give, more to build, more to become. And you're tired of feeling like you're behind, tired of the guilt, tired of the cycle. You want out, you want growth, you want results. And those only come when you stop being available to everything and everyone. You can't build a strong mind in a noisy environment. You can't finish what matters when your attention is scattered. You've got to take control. One task, one session, one moment of deep focus. That's your starting point. And if you can protect that space for yourself every day, even for an hour, everything starts to change. You'll feel clearer. You'll feel stronger. You'll stop apologizing for not showing up, because you'll be living in alignment with your values, not your impulses. And I'll tell you this, it's not about working all day long. It's not about hustling nonstop. It's about learning how to focus on demand, learning how to shut off the world when it's time to work. That skill will separate you from the crowd, because most people are addicted to distractions. You'll be the one building discipline while they're still chasing temporary hits of pleasure. And maybe no one else will notice, but you will. You'll feel the shift. You'll feel the pride that comes from following through. You'll feel the quiet confidence that builds when you do what you said you'd do. That's how you build a life you're proud of, one focused hour at a time. So today, give yourself that chance. Shut it all off. Protect your focus. Start your task. And don't stop until it's done. Not because you feel like it, but because you're training yourself to do the work no matter what. That's how winners are made, not in grand gestures. In the quiet moments when no one is watching. When distractions scream your name and you say, not now. I've got something more important to do. Start now, before you think, before you get pulled away. Start with what matters. One task, no noise, just you and your effort. That's where everything starts to change. Number 3, set a timer and push through 5 solid minutes. 5 minutes, that's all it takes to change your entire day. Most people don't believe that. They think you need hours of motivation or perfect conditions to get anything done. But what they don't understand is that progress doesn't wait for perfection. Momentum doesn't show up after you feel good. It shows up the moment you stop making excuses and start moving forward. Even if it's just for 5 focused minutes, that's where it begins. You don't need to be ready. You don't need to feel inspired. You just need to commit to 5 solid minutes of real effort. Set a timer. Right now, not later. Not after you scroll. Not after you eat. Now, the reason is simple. Your brain wants to delay. It wants to keep you safe. It wants to protect you from effort. It feeds you thoughts like I'll do it later, or I'm too tired right now, or 5 minutes won't do anything. But here's the truth. 5 minutes of focused action will do more for your life than 5 hours of overthinking. And don't overcomplicate it. You don't need to plan out every step. You don't need to know how the whole day will go. That's the trap people fall into. They think they need a perfect blueprint before they act. What they really need is movement, because movement creates clarity. It's not the other way around. You figure things out by doing. You build discipline by pushing through the resistance. And the best way to do that is to start with something small and specific. That's why a timer works. It gives you a finish line. It gives your brain something to focus on. It tells your body, we're doing this, but only for 5 minutes. That makes the resistance smaller. It makes the task seem manageable. And once you start, you almost always keep going. That's the trick. Getting started is the hardest part. But if you can win the first 5 minutes, you often win the hour, sometimes the entire day. You've got to treat it like a challenge, like a personal test. Can you show up for 5 minutes without quitting? Can you ignore the phone, the noise, the doubts, and just give yourself 5 full minutes of real effort? Most people can't. Not because they're weak, but because they've trained themselves to avoid discomfort. They've built a habit of stopping as soon as it gets hard, and that habit kills progress every time. But you can break that habit. You can train your mind to keep going when everything in you wants to stop. And it starts with something simple. Set the timer. Sit down. Start the task. Don't stop until the timer goes off. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be fast. It just has to be real effort. That's where confidence comes from. Doing what you said you'd do, no matter how small. Here's what happens when you actually do it. You feel a shift. Your brain stops resisting. Your hands get moving. Your attention gets sharper. And for those 5 minutes, you become present. You stop living in your head and start living in the moment. That's where the power is. That's when you stop being a victim to your mood. You become the one in control. Most people don't understand how much damage they do to their mindset by skipping the small stuff. They think skipping one 5-minute session doesn't matter, but it does. Because every time you say no to action, you say yes to the habit of quitting. And quitting doesn't show up all at once. It builds slowly. One skipped task, one delayed project, one moment of saying not now that turns into not ever. But the opposite is true too. When you push through 5 minutes of resistance, even once, you prove to yourself that you're not the same person anymore. You're someone who follows through. You're someone who doesn't negotiate with laziness. You're someone who doesn't need a perfect plan to take a step. That changes how you see yourself. And when your identity shifts, your behavior follows. You won't feel like doing it most of the time. That's normal. But what if you stopped waiting to feel like it? What if you said, I don't need to feel great. I just need to do 5 minutes of focused work. That approach will carry you through days when motivation is gone. It'll carry you through nights when you feel drained. And eventually it becomes a part of who you are. You'll be amazed how many days turn around because of 5 minutes. You'll start out feeling tired, distracted, or overwhelmed. But once you push through that first block of time, something clicks. You realize, I'm in it now. I might as well keep going. And that's the magic. Not in the start, not in the finish. In the decision to stay with the task, even when it's uncomfortable. The timer is your accountability partner. It doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't care about your excuses. It's honest. It ticks whether you show up or not. So beat it. Win against it. Don't let time keep slipping by while you wait to feel perfect. Just start. 5 minutes. Right now, you don't need more than that to prove something to yourself. The world is full of people with dreams they never started. Not because they weren't capable, but because they never pushed through 5 minutes of discomfort. They kept waiting for a better day, a clearer mind, a spark of inspiration. But the truth is, nothing changes until you act. And the fastest way to act is to stop thinking, set a timer and begin. Your mind will give you reasons to stop. It'll say, you're not ready. It'll whisper, you're too tired. It'll suggest you can try again tomorrow. But those are just thoughts. They're not commands. You can notice them without obeying them. You can feel lazy and still move. You can feel stuck and still write the first sentence. You can feel unmotivated and still take action. That's the difference between those who succeed and those who stay where they are. You need to build a system that doesn't rely on how you feel, because your feelings will betray you. Some days you'll wake up strong. Other days you'll feel like quitting everything. That's part of being human. But if you have a system, a simple practice like setting a 5-minute timer and starting no matter what, you will stay consistent even when the mood isn't there. Discipline starts in the smallest choices. It doesn't begin with big speeches or perfect plans. It starts when you stop delaying and start doing. You don't need energy. You need action. And action creates energy. That's the switch. You don't wait for motivation to act. You act to find your momentum. And once you're moving, you become unstoppable. 5 minutes is not a trick. It's not a hack. It's a tool to build the muscle of doing hard things. Because once you show up for 5, you can stay for 10. And once you're locked in for 10, you might go for 30. And before you know it, you've done more in an hour than most people do in a day. Not because you were more talented, but because you had the courage to start when others kept waiting. That's the edge. That's what separates you from everyone else. You don't need permission to start. You don't need inspiration. You don't need someone to push you. You've got yourself. And that's enough. That's always been enough. You just forgot how powerful you are when you stopped negotiating with laziness. So what will you do right now? Will you scroll again? Will you go back to waiting? Or will you set the timer and move forward? Because the only thing standing between you and the life you want is your ability to start when it's hard, to act when it's inconvenient, to push when your brain tells you to coast. Nobody's going to hand it to you. Nobody's coming to save you from procrastination. This is your moment. Right here. Right now. Not later. Not tomorrow. 5 minutes. That's all it takes to shift your energy, to reclaim your power, to prove to yourself that you're not the same person who used to quit. And the best part, you get to repeat it every day. You get to build a streak. You get to look back and say, I didn't feel like it, but I showed up anyway. That kind of consistency builds a level of trust in yourself that no one can take away. It creates a mindset that says, I do the work, no matter what. You don't need to be extraordinary. You just need to be consistent. You don't need a secret weapon. You need a system that keeps you moving when everything in you wants to stop. And the 5-minute timer is that system. It's simple, it's powerful, and it works. If you work it, start now. Not because it's easy, but because it matters. Because you're tired of wasting time. Because you know deep down you're meant for more than excuses. 5 minutes. One task. Real effort. That's your foundation. That's your edge. That's your first win today. And once you win that, the next win is easier. And then the next. And then the next. You just have to start. 5 minutes. That's it. That's how it begins. That's how everything begins. Number 4. Speak out loud what you need to do now. Most people walk around trapped inside their own heads. They've got a storm of thoughts spinning nonstop, but they don't do anything about it. They think about what they should do, what they wish they had done, what they hope to do someday, but they never say it out loud. And because of that, their thoughts stay foggy, unclear, and easy to ignore. That's where they lose. That's where they fall behind. But there's a way to break through that. Right now, speak out loud what you need to do. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when your mood improves. Say it now, with clarity, with intention, with urgency. You tell your mind what the mission is. You stop the noise. You silence the excuses. Because when you speak it, you face it. You take a cloudy intention and turn it into a command. That's the power of speaking out loud. It makes your thoughts real. It holds you accountable. You can't hide from your own voice. And it's not about screaming or being dramatic. It's about being direct and honest with yourself. I need to finish that report today. I have to clean my room now. I'm going to reply to those emails in the next hour. When you hear those words come out of your mouth, something shifts. Your mind listens. Your body follows. You create alignment between what you think and what you do. Too many people are stuck in passive thinking. They let their brain wander aimlessly, and then they wonder why they can't focus. But when you speak your task out loud, you give your brain a target. You say, this is what we're doing. And even if you feel tired, even if you feel off, that simple act of saying it brings focus. It sets the tone. It clears out the nonsense. Now I know it might feel weird Talking to yourself might seem awkward at first. But let me ask you this. Do you want to stay stuck? Or do you want to move forward? Because staying quiet has done enough damage. You've stayed silent about your goals long enough. You've avoided action by hiding behind indecision long enough. It's time to use your voice to break that pattern. Start simple. Stand up. Look around. Ask yourself, what do I need to do right now? Then answer it out loud. Don't think it. Say it. Speak it with full intention. That clarity cuts through the fog, and that's what most people are missing. Clarity. They've got 1,000 tasks floating around in their minds, but no structure, no focus, no leadership. You've got to be the leader of your own mind. And leaders speak clearly. When you speak your task out loud, you're not just talking. You're taking ownership. You're saying, this is mine to do. I will handle it. That energy hits different. That level of ownership pushes out procrastination. Because once you say it, you've started the process. You've created the first spark. The next step is action. And let me be clear. This is not just a motivational trick. This is a strategy that works. Athletes use it. Performers use it. Business people use it. People who are serious about their time use it. Because when you verbalize your intention, your brain locks in. You're more likely to follow through when you've said something with your own voice. You've given yourself a directive. You've made it real. There's a deep psychological switch that happens when your thoughts move from internal to external. Internally, your brain can delay. It can second guess. It can avoid. But externally, when the words come out, you trigger a different level of responsibility. That's the key. You make it harder to back down. You make it harder to lie to yourself. Think about this. How many times have you quietly promised yourself you'd do something and then ignored it? Probably more times than you want to admit. But how often have you said something out loud and then felt pressure to follow through? That's the difference. Your voice adds weight, it adds meaning, and you can use that to your advantage. If you really want to shift your momentum, build this habit every morning. Speak out loud what your first task is. Just the first one. Don't overload yourself. Don't build a fantasy list of goals. Just speak one clear action. I will write one page. I will make that phone call. I will start my workout. One clear sentence that guides your next move. Say it with force. Say it with direction. Say it like your future depends on it. Because it does. It's not magic. It's discipline. It's awareness. It's about building a deeper relationship with yourself. The kind of relationship where you don't lie, where you don't sugarcoat your laziness, where you don't pretend to be confused. You know what needs to be done. You're just not saying it out loud. And that silence keeps you stuck. You want to get out of that fog. Speak. You want to kill the distraction. Speak. You want to break the cycle of delay. Speak. You don't need more books. You don't need more plans. You need clarity. And clarity comes when you speak your intention with your full attention. This is also how you stay focused when your energy dips. Because motivation isn't always there. Sometimes you're tired. Sometimes your mood is low. But if you keep the habit of speaking your tasks, your brain stays in work mode. It doesn't drift into wishful thinking. It doesn't fall back into comfort. It stays sharp because you've trained it to respond to your voice. People always ask me, how do I stay consistent when I don't feel like it? And I tell them, speak the task, then do the task. That's it. Stop negotiating with your emotions. Stop waiting for a perfect mood. Say what you need to do. Say it strong, then do it. Don't overcomplicate it. Simplicity is power. This also builds confidence. Every time you speak and follow through, you build trust with yourself. You become someone you can count on. That's how confidence works. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you do. You tell yourself the truth, then you follow it. And when you do that enough times, you don't need motivation. You've got discipline. You need to be the kind of person who speaks life into your day, who wakes up and says, here's what I'm doing. No excuses. You need to become someone who doesn't rely on the world to tell them what to do. You tell yourself, you give the order, and then you move. That's power. That's control. That's ownership. You know why most people keep drifting? Because they never stop and say what matters. They never say, this is my priority right now. So everything feels urgent. Everything feels heavy. But when you speak out loud, you separate the noise from the task. You gain clarity. You take control. You shrink the chaos into one action. It's not about being loud. It's about being real. Real with what you've been avoiding. Real with what needs to happen next. Real with the fact that if you don't move now, you'll lose the day again. And how many more days can you afford to waste? Speak what you need to do. Speak it like your time matters. Speak it like you're done being average. Speak it like you're done hiding. Because silence is safe, but it's also deadly to progress. If you're serious about changing your life, you've got to start being loud about your priorities and quiet about your excuses. You've got to stop acting like you have forever. You don't. Time is moving, and every second you spend drifting is a second you'll never get back. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to get clear and get moving. And it all starts with your voice. So right now, don't think. Speak. Say it. Say the next thing you need to do. Say it with power. Say it with urgency. Say it like you're taking back control of your life. Because once you do that, you've already started. You've broken the hesitation. You've stepped into action. And once you step into action, the rest of the day starts to fall into place. This is your moment. This is the choice. Either keep thinking about what needs to be done, or speak it and make it happen. Either stay quiet and stay stuck, or use your voice to break through and move forward. Say it, mean it, do it. Number 5, visualize the result and take one bold step. You've got a picture in your mind of the life you want to live, the kind of work you want to do, the way you want to feel when you wake up, the confidence you want to carry in every room you walk into, the version of yourself you know you could be if you just stopped holding back. That picture is not some fantasy. It's a glimpse of what's possible, but it only becomes real when you stop daydreaming and take one bold step toward it. Close your eyes for a second and see it. Not in a vague way, not in a soft way. See it in full color. Picture the details. What does your life look like if you finally act on what matters most? What does it look like when you stop running from your potential and start living like someone who takes their future seriously? See that image and let it hit you. Let it remind you of everything you've put off, everything you've said someday too. Let it shake something in you. Because if you don't feel that fire now, when will you? That vision you have, it's not going to walk into your life on its own. It doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't respond to your wishful thinking. It demands action. It demands bold movement. It demands that you show up even when you're scared, even when you're tired, even when you doubt yourself. Especially then, that's when the growth happens. That's when everything begins to change. You can visualize the goal all day long, but if you don't take a step, it dies in your imagination. And you can't let that happen, because regret stings more than failure. Sitting around thinking about what could have been will crush you if you don't take control. Now, you want that dream, then act like it. Get serious. Make a move. Do something that breaks the routine. Do something that forces you to grow. Take that one bold step today, not tomorrow. Today, bold doesn't mean reckless. It doesn't mean extreme. It means decisive. It means stepping out of hesitation and into progress. It means doing the thing you've avoided because it scares you. And if it scares you, it probably matters. You've got to be willing to lean into that fear, not because it disappears, but because courage grows stronger when it's tested. You grow when you walk through the discomfort, not around it. Maybe the bold step for you today is having a conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's sending that email. Maybe it's walking into that gym. Maybe it's finally sitting down to build something that matters to you. I don't know what it is for you, but you do. Deep down, you already know. The problem isn't clarity. The problem is fear. You're afraid of judgment, afraid of looking foolish, afraid of failing. But let me tell you something. The pain of staying stuck will always be worse than the fear of moving forward. And here's the truth. You're not going to feel ready. That's a lie. Your mind tells you to protect you from risk, but comfort doesn't lead to fulfillment. You don't need more time to prepare. You need to move. You need to bet on yourself when it counts. And it counts right now. The clock's ticking. Every day you hesitate, someone else is building the life you wish you had. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep scrolling, keep distracting yourself, keep pretending that everything's fine, when deep down you know it's not? Or are you going to stand up and make a move that changes the direction of your life? Bold steps are not about speed. they're about intent. One move with full heart is better than 10 empty gestures. You've got to mean it. You've got to be in it. Not halfway. Not part-time. Fully committed. That's when momentum shows up. That's when confidence kicks in. You start to feel alive again. You start to remember what it's like to believe in yourself. You build that belief by doing hard things, by proving to yourself that you can handle the pressure. And the only way to prove it is by stepping into it. You know what happens when you take that step? Everything starts to shift. The excuses shrink. The fear loses its grip. Your mind starts to open up. You begin to trust yourself more. Because action breeds clarity. Action creates energy. And the more you move, the more you want to move. The cycle reverses. You stop overthinking and start executing. You stop doubting and start becoming. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need approval. You need fire. You need a reason that matters more than your fear. So look at that picture again, the one in your head. The one of the life you really want. The one where you're doing what you love, waking up with purpose, walking through the world with strength and direction. Now ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today to move toward that? Don't wait for motivation. Create it. Don't wait to feel confident. Build it through action. Don't let another day go by where you look back and feel disappointed. You've had enough of that. Now it's time for something different. Now it's time for bold. You don't need to have the whole path figured out. You just need to move. You just need to stop pretending you're stuck and take the next step in front of you. That's how big goals are built, one clear decision at a time. And every bold step rewires your brain to expect more from yourself, to rise when it's hard, to show up when it counts, to become someone who acts, not someone who waits. Don't overcomplicate it. You've got a vision. Now match it with movement. Speak it, feel it, then go after it. Not tomorrow. Now you've been hesitating long enough, and you already know that waiting hasn't helped. So flip the switch, say yes to the action. Do the uncomfortable thing. Send the message. Apply for the opportunity. Get your hands dirty. Push yourself past what's easy. That's where the pride lives. That's where progress lives. Visualizing the result is important. It reminds you of the why, but too many people get stuck there. They stay in their heads. They build castles in the sky, but never lay a brick on the ground. Don't be that person. Be the one who acts. Be the one who says, this is what I want, and I'm doing something about it. If you can see it, you can work for it. If you can feel it, you can earn it. But the universe doesn't reward wishers. It rewards workers. People who push through the fear. People who take bold steps when it's hard. People who act without perfect conditions. That's what wins in the long run. That's what separates the doers from the dreamers. And don't mistake bold for big. Sometimes the boldest thing you can do is the smallest step you've avoided. Getting up early, turning off distractions, speaking the truth, starting over. Those are bold moves when you've been drifting. And when you do them, you wake something up inside you. You remember that you've got power, that you've got say, that your life is not something you watch, it's something you build. So start now. Visualize the result. Feel it in your chest. Let it push you forward. Let it burn through the fear. Then take one bold step. That's it. One real step. Something that moves the needle. Something that says, I'm serious now. Don't wait for the world to give you permission. Don't wait for the right day or the perfect moment. Those things don't come. What comes is the chance you create by acting. What comes is the progress you make by moving. You either stay where you are or you step into the unknown and grow. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. That's the point. Growth lives outside the comfort zone. And if you want to feel proud when you look back a year from now, you've got to do something today that scares you, that challenges you, that pushes your limits. This is how you take control of your life. You stop just imagining what you want and start acting like you deserve it. And that starts with one thing, a bold step. Today, not later, not next week. Now stand up, take the shot, make the call, start the work, turn the idea into action. That's the difference. That's how you build a life worth living. The moment is here, don't miss it. Visualize the outcome, feel it deep, then take the step that your future self will thank you for. That's how everything starts. That's how momentum is born. That's how you change your life, one bold step at a time. Number 6, look in the mirror and demand effort from yourself. A moment when you've got to stop pointing fingers, stop making excuses, stop avoiding the reflection that stares back at you every single day. You stand there, you look yourself in the eyes, and you ask one question: am I really giving everything I've got? This is the test that separates people who talk from people who transform. The mirror doesn't lie. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your reasons. It reflects what you've done, what you've avoided, what you've tolerated from yourself. And when you stand there and look at it, really look, it forces you to confront something most people try to avoid their entire lives: personal responsibility. Now, I don't mean guilt. I don't mean shame. I'm talking about effort, about demanding more from yourself than you have in the past, about not letting yourself off the hook anymore. Because if you're not honest in the mirror, you'll never be honest in life. You'll drift. You'll lie to yourself. You'll dress up your laziness with clever words. You'll blame the system, the world, the timing, anything but the person looking back at you. Effort isn't about talent. It's not about luck. It's about discipline. It's about choices. It's about the small moments when nobody's watching and you still choose to push forward. That's effort. And when you stand in front of the mirror and demand it from yourself, you reclaim your power. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked at yourself, really looked, and said, I expect more from you? When did you last call yourself out for falling short? Not to beat yourself up, but to raise your standard. To remind yourself that this life you've been given isn't some casual ride. It's a chance to become something more. And you don't get there by being soft on yourself. You get there by being real. You say you want success. You say you want change. You say you want to grow. Then demand the effort that growth requires. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to knock on your door and hand you discipline. You've got to build it. You've got to look in that mirror and say, no more lying, no more delaying, no more cutting corners. You can feel it in your gut when you're not giving it everything. You know when you're faking it. You know when you're holding back. And that inner voice, it doesn't stay silent. It eats at you. It reminds you that you're capable of more, that you were made for more. But you've got to be brave enough to listen, and then bold enough to act. The reason most people don't change isn't because they can't, it's because they won't. They don't want to face the man or woman in the mirror and admit, I've been lazy, I've been distracted, I've let myself slide. But that's the exact moment everything shifts. When you stop pretending, when you stop numbing, when you stop making it sound better than it is, and tell the truth. Because the truth, raw and clear, is the foundation of change. When you admit where you are, you unlock the power to go somewhere else. But if you keep lying, you stay stuck. That's the trap. That's why you've got to look yourself dead in the eyes and say, from this moment on, I demand more from you. And when you do that, something changes. You start walking different. You start thinking different. You start making choices based on who you want to become, not who you've been. That's how growth works. That's how progress is built. One honest confrontation at a time. Most people will never do this. They'll keep pointing fingers. They'll keep wishing. They'll keep blaming traffic, or parents, or society. And those people stay small. They stay bitter. They stay stuck. Because until you hold yourself accountable, nothing changes. But you're not most people. Not if you're still here listening to this. You want something deeper. You're ready for something real. You're not afraid of effort. You're afraid of wasting your life without trying. And that fear is healthy. That fear should drive you. Because this moment right here might be the most important decision you ever make. To look yourself in the mirror and stop lying. Say to yourself, if I'm going to do this, I'm going all in. If I'm going to show up, I'm not phoning it in. If I want results, I'll put in the work that earns them. And I mean every day, not once in a while, not when it's easy, every single day. Demand effort, demand discipline. Demand action, because that's the only path to pride, to confidence, to peace. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up with integrity. It's about being someone you respect, someone you trust, someone who follows through. You can't fake that. You can't borrow it. You've got to earn it through repetition, through grit, through the decisions nobody sees. That's where greatness is built, quietly, internally, one demand at a time. And let me tell you something. When you start living this way, people will notice. They'll feel your energy shift. They'll watch you move with purpose. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you're finally living aligned with your own standard. You stop breaking promises to yourself. You stop hiding. You stop drifting. You lead yourself. And when you lead yourself, everything else starts to fall into place. You don't tolerate low standards anymore. You don't chase validation. You build self-respect. And that self-respect becomes your foundation. But it starts with the mirror. It starts with looking yourself dead in the eyes and saying, this is my life. This is my responsibility. Nobody owes me anything, and I owe it to myself to give it all I've got. Every time you skip that mirror, you skip your truth. You avoid the one person you can't lie to. And over time, that avoidance builds a life full of regret. Don't let that happen. Face it now. Own it now. Take back control. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start demanding effort, consistent effort, honest effort. Not just when you feel good, not just when you're motivated, all the time. Because your future depends on it. Your peace depends on it. Your purpose depends on it. So the next time you stand in front of that mirror, don't look away. Don't check your phone. Don't rush past it. Stop. Look yourself in the eyes and say, no more shortcuts, no more half effort. You've got more in you, and I'm gonna see it come out. Then go prove it. Go earn your own respect. Go chase the life you've been talking about. Because talk is cheap, and nobody's handing you the life you want. You've got to demand it from yourself first. Before the world believes in you, you've got to believe in you. And belief is built through action, through effort, through follow-through. Look, you already know what you've been avoiding. You already know where you've been slacking. And deep down, you know what you're capable of if you actually gave it your all. So stop pretending. Stop acting like you don't know what to do. You know, you've always known. Now do something about it. That mirror is your checkpoint, your reminder, your honest friend. Use it. Talk to yourself straight. No sugarcoating, no pity, just truth, and then action. Demand effort from yourself, because no one else is going to do it for you. Demand effort because the life you want isn't going to wait forever. Demand effort because you are worth that kind of commitment. And if you keep showing up like that, honestly, consistently, powerfully, you're going to look back one day and thank yourself for making that decision. The decision to stop drifting, the decision to stop being soft, the decision to stop hiding, the decision to start rising. And it all starts with one moment, one mirror, one voice that says, you've got work to do, and I expect you to do it. So do it, starting now, starting today. Stand up, face yourself, and earn the future you keep dreaming about. It's waiting for the version of you who's willing to fight for it. Now go become that person, one effort at a time. Number 7, write down your goal and act on it today. You can think about your goals all day long. You can dream about them. You can talk about them to your friends, post about them. Even tell your family how badly you want to achieve something. But none of that means anything until you do one simple thing. Write it down. That's where clarity begins. That's the moment your thoughts stop floating around in your head and start becoming real. That's the first test. Are you serious enough to put it on paper? When you write it down, you bring structure to your desire. You stop letting it live in your imagination, and you start holding yourself accountable. You stop letting your mind trick you into thinking you're making progress just because you're thinking a lot. The world doesn't reward thinking. It rewards action. It rewards execution. So the first bold move you need to make is grab a pen, write your goal down, and look at it like a promise. Not a wish, not a fantasy, a commitment. Writing your goal isn't a small step. It's a bold step. It says, I'm done just wanting. I'm now willing. That shift is powerful, and you feel it. You feel the gravity of your own words. You feel the tension between where you are and where you want to be. And that's good. That discomfort is fuel. It reminds you of the gap between your dreams and your habits. And now you've got something to aim at. But don't just write it and walk away. That's what too many people do. They feel a little spark, jot it down, then leave it in a notebook, never to look at it again. That's not commitment. That's a moment of wishful thinking. And your future deserves better than that. After you write it down, you need to make the second move, act on it today. Not tomorrow. Not when it's more convenient. Not when you feel better. Right now, the longer you wait, the more likely you'll find reasons to stay the same. The mind is clever. It'll convince you that you're not ready, that you need more information, that you need a little more motivation. But what you really need is to break the pattern of delay. The habit of waiting is a habit that kills more dreams than failure ever will. Because at least failure means you tried. Delay just means you gave up without even starting. So here's what I want you to do. You've got your goal written down. Good. Now look at it. Stare at it until it starts to feel real. Until it starts to wake something up inside you. Until you start getting uncomfortable sitting still. And then move. Take action. Not a perfect step, just a clear step. A simple one. Call that person. Send that email. Go to the gym, open the book, start the task. Show up to your future like it matters. Action is the only thing that separates people who say they want it from people who prove it. And the truth is, you're not going to feel ready. You're not going to feel like doing it. That's normal. That's the point. This is about building discipline, not waiting on motivation. This is about showing yourself that you're the kind of person who follows through. That when you say something matters to you, you don't just say it, you do something about it. You don't need a full plan. You don't need to map out every detail. You just need to start. That one action today can shift everything. You'd be amazed what happens when you start acting like your goal is real. You move with different energy. You speak differently. You stop explaining your doubts and start proving your belief. And even the people around you will feel it. Because real action carries a power that words can't match. Some of you keep waiting for a sign. You think the right moment will arrive someday. But that moment isn't coming. You create it. You choose it. You take it. Today is the day you take your idea and drag it out of your head and into the world where it can start to live and breathe, where it can become something. Stop waiting. Stop hoping. Start doing. And don't worry about how small the first step is. That's not the point. The point is movement. The point is momentum. The point is teaching your mind that when you set a goal, you follow it with effort. Not someday, not eventually. Now today, think about how many times you've promised yourself you'd change. How many nights you've gone to bed feeling frustrated with yourself. How many mornings you've woken up thinking, this is it, I'm finally going to do it. Only to find yourself slipping back into old patterns by lunch. And that's not because you're broken. It's because you haven't taken control of the first move. The simple, powerful move of writing it down and acting on it the same day. Once you build that habit, your life changes. You stop needing others to push you. You stop chasing quick highs. You stop looking for tricks and shortcuts. Because now you have proof that you can rely on yourself. And that proof builds something no one can take from you. Inner strength. And here's something you need to hear. You don't have to feel confident to act. You don't have to feel ready. You just need to act while the idea is alive in you. Don't give it a chance to die. Don't let it get buried under distraction. Give it life through movement. Give it power through decision. Some of you have had the same goal in your heart for years, and it haunts you. You think about it more than you talk about it. You see other people chasing their goals, and a part of you feels left behind. And it's not because you can't do it. It's because you keep putting it off. Today is the day that ends. Go write it down. And then ask yourself, what action can I take in the next hour? Not tomorrow. Not this weekend. Now, because that's where self-respect is built. In the choices you make when nobody is watching. In the work you do when there's no guarantee. That's how you grow. That's how you break the cycle. You can look back a year from now and be proud of yourself. Or you can look back and regret the days you kept waiting. And it all comes down to one decision. One commitment. One action today. That's how simple it is. You don't need a speech. You don't need motivation. You need to decide that today is the day you finally honor your own goal. Write it. Own it. Act on it. And once you take that step, don't stop. Build on it. Do something else tomorrow. And then the next day. Stack your wins. Stack your progress. Because that's how momentum is built. Not in one big leap, but in daily discipline. You know what separates the people who achieve their goals from the ones who don't? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's their ability to move through hesitation. It's their refusal to stay stuck. It's their willingness to take one action today, no matter how they feel. So if you're tired of your own excuses, if you're tired of watching life pass you by, if you're tired of the same cycle, this is your moment. You don't need permission. You don't need the stars to align. You need to take yourself seriously. Serious enough to put it on paper. Serious enough to stop stalling. Serious enough to do what needs to be done today. Don't give in to comfort. Don't wait for the mood to strike. Be the kind of person who acts in spite of resistance. Be the kind of person who turns intention into movement. That's how you gain control. That's how you stop living passively and start creating your life. This is what the winners do. This is what the focused do. This is what the strong do. They don't just talk about it. They don't just feel inspired for a moment. They use that energy. They channel it into action. They leave proof behind. And when you do that day after day, your whole world starts to shift. You stop being the person who tries. You become the person who delivers. You stop hiding behind plans. You step forward with courage. Because once you write it down and act on it, the game changes. You stop living in your head. You start building something in the real world. And it all starts with you. So if you've been waiting for a reason, here it is. You're capable. You're ready. You're needed. Don't waste another day waiting. Don't waste another day. Your goal is waiting for you to take it seriously. Write it down. Act on it today. And don't look back. Number 8. Remind yourself pain is temporary and do it anyway. You don't need to wait until the pain disappears to move. That's a mistake too many people make. They think discomfort is a signal to stop, but it's not. Discomfort is the proof that the change you're asking for is in motion. That feeling you call pain, it's not your enemy. It's part of the process. It's the tension between who you are and who you're becoming. That tension is necessary. If you let it stop you, you lose. But if you remind yourself it won't last forever, and you push anyway, you change. Every day, somebody somewhere wakes up in pain and does what they said they were going to do. They're not lucky. They're not special. They've just trained their mind to see beyond the moment. They understand something you must accept. Pain has an expiration date. But if you back down from every challenge that hurts, you'll live your life stuck in a cycle of quitting. You'll always stop right at the edge of growth. You'll always break when things get uncomfortable. And then you'll wonder why nothing changes. There's something powerful about knowing your pain won't last. It gives you strength. It gives you control. But you must remind yourself, not once, but over and over. Because when the pressure comes, your mind forgets. It looks for the exit. It wants comfort. It wants safety. And if you're not careful, it will lie to you. It'll tell you to stop, even when stopping costs you everything. You have to decide that you won't let temporary pain steal permanent progress. Remind yourself that the work hurts now, but the regret hurts later and lasts longer. Discipline has a cost, but quitting has a price. You're going to pay either way. So make sure what you're buying is worth it. Use the pain. Don't run from it. Face it and keep moving. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to be in the mood. You just need to act right now. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if you'd rather do something else, you have to get used to choosing long-term gain over short-term relief. That's where strength comes from. That's how self-respect is built. You will never get to where you want to be if you give in every time things get hard. You will never grow if you treat discomfort like danger. Most people want the result, but they avoid the process. They want confidence, but they avoid resistance. They want strength, but they avoid struggle. And then they wonder why their life stays the same. Don't be like most people. They're stuck because they're waiting for the feeling to be right. But you're not here to feel ready. You're here to take action. You have to stop treating your emotions like commands. Just because you feel tired doesn't mean you don't move. Just because you feel doubt doesn't mean you stop trying. Just because you feel pain doesn't mean you can't push. Every emotion is real, But not every emotion is right. You can feel it and still do the work. You can be in pain and still take the next step. Your life changes the moment you stop asking how you feel and start asking what needs to get done. That's the shift. That's where people start to pull ahead. That's when you stop losing time. Because the truth is, there's no pause button on life. You're either making progress or falling behind. And if you keep waiting for motivation to show up, you're going to be stuck in the same place a year from now. What matters is what you do in the middle of the discomfort. That's what defines you. That's where your future is built. Not when it's easy, not when it's exciting, but when it's difficult and quiet and lonely. When no one's watching and everything in you wants to quit, but you don't. You wake up tired and you get up anyway. You feel uncertain and you move anyway. You feel sore and you show up anyway. That's what separates the winners from the people who just wish. That's the moment that breaks most people. But you're not most people. You've got something inside of you that refuses to settle, something that demands more, and you owe it to yourself to answer that demand. You must remind yourself, again and again, this pain is not forever, but the pride you'll feel from following through that stays, the growth you earn from doing what's hard that lasts, the discipline you build from staying committed when it's not convenient, that becomes part of you. You carry that with you for life. But it only happens if you act. It only happens if you choose effort when ease looks more attractive. It only happens if you stop giving in to that voice that wants to take the day off, skip the workout, delay the project, ignore the goal. That voice doesn't care about your future. It only cares about comfort, and comfort has never built anything worth having. So you talk back, you speak louder, you tell yourself the truth. You say, yes, this hurts, but I can do hard things. You say, yes, I'm tired, but I don't stop just because it's hard. You say, yes, it's uncomfortable, but that's what growth feels like. You keep saying it until your actions match your words. Don't chase motivation, chase momentum. Chase the next step, the next 5 minutes, the next task. That's how you train your mind to obey. That's how you rewire your habits, not by waiting to feel good, but by doing what needs to be done even when you don't want to, especially when you don't want to. Because the most important step is the one you take when your mind is begging you not to. That's the step that defines your character. That's the step that proves who you really are. Not what you say when things are smooth, but what you do when things are messy, painful, and real. That's when you show up. So when that moment comes, and it will, when you feel the resistance hit you hard, when your body is heavy, your mind is foggy, and the comfort of quitting is right there in front of you, stop and say this pain will pass, but my goal will not finish itself. Say it clearly. Say it out loud. Say it like your life depends on it, because it does. Every time you give in to pain, it gets easier to give in again. Every time you push through, it gets easier to push again. You're either training yourself to follow through or to fall back. There's no middle ground. You're building habits with every decision, so make them count. You don't need inspiration. You need action. You don't need approval. You need commitment. You don't need perfect timing. You need urgency. You need to realize that life isn't waiting for you to feel good. The clock is ticking. The days are passing. The people who move forward are the ones who stop letting discomfort be the boss. You've been through worse than this. You've had harder days. You've survived moments you didn't think you'd get through. So don't you dare tell yourself, you can't handle this one. You're not weak. You're just distracted. And that distraction is feeding your doubts. Pull your focus back. Remind yourself of the goal. Look it in the face and take one step forward. Not later. Now the reward is on the other side of the resistance. But most people never see it. They quit too early. They leave too soon. They tell themselves stories to justify giving up. And then they live with that story. Don't let that be you. You know what you want. You've said it before. You've written it down. Now prove it. Prove it with your behavior. You don't get strong by thinking about it. You get strong by showing up when it's uncomfortable. You earn it, and you earn it in the moments that feel the most frustrating. You earn it when your mind screams no, and you move anyway. That's the work that matters. That's the work that transforms. Don't wait until it's easier. It won't be. Don't wait until it hurts less. It might not. But you can still move. You can still do it. And if you do it today, you'll be stronger tomorrow. If you do it now, you'll respect yourself later. But if you avoid the pain, you carry the regret. And that stays with you longer. So remind yourself again, this is just pain. It's not forever. You are not your feelings. You are your choices. And right now you've got a choice to make. The easy path will always be there. But the life you want, that only shows up for the ones who move when it's hard. So move. Take the next step. Push through the pain. And do it anyway. Number 9. Refuse to negotiate with laziness and get moving now. Laziness is a liar. It convinces you to wait. It tells you there's more time. It whispers comfort in your ear, when what you really need is motion. It shows up dressed like self-care, disguised as rest, pretending it has your best interest at heart. But it's not here to help you grow. It's not here to make your life better. It's here to steal your future, one decision at a time. And the worst part, it doesn't even need to win with force. All it has to do is make you hesitate. All it needs is a moment of doubt, a second of delay, a single breath where you choose to sit down instead of stand up. That's all it takes. And before you know it, the day is gone. The momentum is gone. And your goals are still sitting untouched. You cannot negotiate with it. You can't argue your way out of it. You can't reason with it. You can't meet it halfway. Because the moment you engage with laziness, it's already winning. The moment you start asking yourself, if you feel like it, if now is a good time, if maybe you'll do it later, you're done. You've already stepped out of action and into hesitation. That's the trap. That's how it works. It doesn't need to fight you. It just needs to make you think about how you feel. Because if you think about it long enough, you'll almost always talk yourself out of doing the thing that matters. So you have to make a decision. Not a soft one, not a hopeful one, a final one. You decide that laziness doesn't get a seat at the table anymore. You decide that action is non-negotiable. You decide that it doesn't matter how tired you feel, how distracted you are, how uninspired the day looks. The work gets done. The movement happens. You get up and you go, not because you feel ready, but because you're done letting laziness drive. And here's the truth nobody wants to admit. The more you let laziness win, the louder it gets. The more you delay, the heavier your mind becomes. Procrastination isn't just about wasting time. It's about draining energy. Every unfinished task you carry weighs down your confidence. Every skipped effort builds mental clutter. And the longer you sit, the harder it gets to stand up. You think you're resting, but really you're slowly killing your momentum. The cure isn't more motivation. The cure is movement. You move, and the resistance loses power. You act, and the fog clears. You take the smallest step forward, and suddenly your brain starts catching up. But none of that happens if you give in to the voice that says, not now, maybe later. Just a few more minutes. That voice doesn't care about your vision. That voice has no investment in your growth. It only wants comfort. It only wants delay. It only wants to keep you stuck. You have to become ruthless with yourself. Not cruel, not unkind, but absolutely uncompromising when it comes to your progress. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. No second guesses. No waiting for the perfect mood. You train your brain to execute. That's what discipline is. Not a feeling, but a practice. You practice showing up, even when every part of you wants to stay still. And the more you do that, the more you become the person who follows through, no matter what. Think about the people you admire. The ones who changed their lives. The ones who built something from nothing. The ones who never gave up. Do you think they waited until they felt like it? Do you think they had some magic switch that made everything easy? No. They had moments where they wanted to stay in bed. They had moments where they wanted to quit. But they didn't let laziness speak for them. They shut it down. They got up. They did the work anyway. You've got that same ability, but you've got to stop making deals with that part of yourself that wants to coast. You've got to stop saying just one day off, when deep down you know that day turns into 3, then 5, then a week of lost momentum. You've got to stop saying, I'll do it later, because you've said that before, and nothing changed. You've got to stop giving your energy to the part of you that wants to shrink, hide, and stay the same. Laziness feeds on indecision. Starve it by acting without hesitation. Don't think, just move. The moment your alarm goes off, get up. The moment your mind says maybe later, go now. The second you feel resistance, push back harder. Every time you override that lazy impulse, you take back control. You tell your brain who's in charge. You build mental muscle. You start winning the small battles, and those add up. If you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're tired of making promises you don't keep, if you're tired of watching days go by without making progress, this is your moment. Right now, not tomorrow, not next week. Right now is when you draw the line. You say, I don't negotiate with laziness. You say, I don't ask for permission to move. You say, I do what needs to be done, no matter how I feel. Because how you feel is temporary. But what you do becomes who you are. And you don't want to be the person who always almost did something. You don't want to be the person who lived their whole life waiting for the right time. You want to be the one who showed up, who moved, who refused to be ruled by a lazy mindset. You will have days where you're not at your best. That's life. But even on those days, you still move. Even when it's hard, you show up. Even when nothing in you feels like it, you do it anyway. That's how confidence is built. That's how strength is earned. And the more you do it, the more it becomes who you are. You're not here to live in loops. You're not here to keep starting over. You're not here to spend your days watching other people build while you sit and wait for motivation to strike. You're here to create, to build, to become someone you're proud of. And that only happens when you stop giving time to the voice that wants to pull you backwards. You silence that voice by proving it wrong. You silence it by doing the work it says you can't. You silence it by showing up over and over until it realizes it has no power over you anymore. And once you start doing that, once you stop waiting and start acting, everything changes. You gain momentum. You build trust with yourself. You finally feel alive again, not because everything is easy, but because you know you're moving with purpose. You're not stuck. You're just listening to the wrong voice. Turn it off. Get up. Move forward. You know what you need to do. You've known it for a while. So do it, and do it now. No more deals. No more waiting. No more giving away your potential to the trap of laziness. This is your time. This is your moment. Get moving. Prove to yourself that you will not be the person who lets time slip away. You are the one who acts, who decides, who goes, and who refuses to negotiate with laziness ever again. Number 10, feel the resistance and move forward with full force. You're going to feel it, that pushback, that invisible force, pulling at your arms, slowing your legs, clouding your mind. It's real. It's heavy. It shows up the moment you try to rise, the second you try to break from your old patterns. That resistance, that mental weight, it doesn't care how good your intentions are. It doesn't care about your goals or your excitement. It only shows up to test how serious you are. And most people stop right there. Most people let that resistance be the reason they don't move. But not you. Not anymore. The presence of resistance doesn't mean something is wrong. It means you're on the edge of growth. It means you're about to break through something that has held you down for too long. That discomfort, that's not a signal to back off. It's a signal to move forward with everything you've got. That force pushing against you is the same force trying to protect the old version of you. The one who made excuses, the one who always hesitated, the one who kept starting over. But you've outgrown that version. You're not here to stay in the same place. You're not here to repeat the same cycles. You're here to rise. And that means moving forward, even when everything in you is begging to stop. You have to stop waiting for the resistance to disappear. It won't. It will always be there. It's always going to show up when you're about to do something that matters. So the goal isn't to avoid it. The goal is to move right through it. Feel the heaviness. Feel the doubt. Feel the tightness in your chest. But don't slow down. Lean into it. That's where your power lives. Your future isn't found in the easy days. It's found in the days you felt like quitting and kept going anyway. This is where most people miss it. They assume if something is hard, it's not the right path. They think if it feels uncomfortable, they're doing something wrong. But the truth is, Discomfort is part of progress. Resistance is the cost of change. If you're not facing pushback, you're probably not stretching yourself. If you're not bumping into walls, you're probably playing too small. So when the pressure builds, don't step back. Double your effort. Push with more force. Demand more from yourself, not less. You're not fragile. You've gone through worse than this. You've had moments where you didn't know how you'd make it, but you did. This resistance you're feeling right now, it's temporary. It wants to convince you that it's permanent, that it's too big, too much, but it's lying. What's permanent is the strength you build when you keep pushing. What stays with you is the mental toughness you create every time you fight back, instead of giving up. That's what makes you unshakable. You don't build confidence by waiting for the perfect moment. You build it by doing hard things when you don't feel ready. You build it by moving even when you're scared, tired, uncertain. Every time you take action despite the resistance, you rewire your mind. You stop being controlled by fear. You stop living according to feelings. You become someone who gets things done, regardless of mood or circumstance. That's power. That's freedom. Right now, in this moment, you get to make a decision. You can choose comfort, or you can choose growth, but you can't have both. You can choose to wait until you feel better, or you can move forward with full force and break through the barrier. That's the difference between the people who talk about changing and the people who actually do it. The ones who move through resistance become unstoppable. The ones who wait for resistance to go away stay stuck. There is no shortcut. There is no easy way. The work has to be done. The effort has to be put in. You don't get results from what you intend to do. You get results from what you follow through on. And you don't follow through by hoping the process will be smooth. You follow through by making up your mind that nothing will stop you. You create your results when you move with intensity, with urgency, with zero room for negotiation. You don't tiptoe forward. You launch yourself. You go all in. Not because it's easy, but because you're tired of being the one who always pulls back at the edge of something great. You know what's at stake. You know what you're capable of. You've had glimpses of your potential, and you also know what it feels like to waste it. You've had days where you chose distraction instead of discipline. You've had moments where you felt that fire and let it burn out because resistance showed up and you backed down. But you don't have to repeat that pattern. You can change it right now. The minute you stop waiting for resistance to go away and decide to move in spite of it, everything shifts. Start with your body. Move it. Get up. Take action. Even if it's just one step. The physical movement sends a message to your mind. We're not staying stuck. We're not going to let resistance win. And once you're in motion, keep going. Don't slow down to think about how it feels. Don't pause to analyze your doubt. Stay focused on what needs to be done and keep pushing. Momentum is built by action, not by planning, not by dreaming, not by hoping, by doing. You do the thing. You do it again. You do it when it's hard. You do it when it feels like everything's against you. That's how you prove to yourself you can be trusted. That's how you transform from someone who hesitates into someone who executes. There will always be a reason to stop. There will always be a voice telling you it's not the right time. But that voice doesn't get a vote anymore. You've listened to it long enough, and where has it gotten you? Nowhere you want to stay. So instead of listening to the resistance, respond with energy, respond with motion, respond with force. People will ask you what changed. They'll wonder why you're more focused, more driven, more disciplined, and the answer will be simple. You stopped listening to resistance, and you started trusting action. You stopped asking if you felt ready, and you started moving before you had the answers. You decided that your future was more important than your comfort. You decided that your potential mattered more than your excuses. So feel the resistance. Acknowledge it, but don't slow down. Don't let it take the wheel. You're the one in control now. You choose what happens next, and if you choose to move forward with full force, no hesitation, no holding back, then nothing can stop you. Because the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is your ability to take action in the face of resistance. You were made for this. You're not weak. You're not incapable. You don't need perfect conditions. What you need is to trust yourself enough to move when everything says stay still. And once you do that, Once you commit to moving forward, no matter how it feels, you become unstoppable. Do it now. Not later. Not someday. Now. You feel the resistance. Good. That means you're on the right track. Push into it. Go all the way through. And when you get to the other side, you'll realize you were never stuck. You were just waiting for the moment you finally said, enough. I move anyway.